No Spider-Man movie needs to be rated R, ever. Let me say that again. No Spider-Man movie needs to be rated R, ever.
Welcome back, true believer. Can't I get you anything? Some Merry Marvel mayhem to get the old pulse pounding?
Hey there, true believers. Joshua Westbrook here with some more Merry Marvel Mayhem to get the old pulse pounding. Now, the Punisher has been announced to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. The Punisher, everybody knows Frank Castle, the gun-toting vigilante that punishes criminals by not giving them a second chance, to put it lightly. And Spider-Man is Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood web-slinging superhero. Now I'm starting to see this argument again, and I see it a lot, and I just have very strong opinions on it. So let me tell you, everybody's saying, "Oh well, you know, either Spider-Man needs to be rated R, or they're gonna dumb down the Punisher, and we don't want that." And that's just not the case. It's not the case. It never has been. Let me start by saying this: the Punisher is a character that, while violent by nature, he kills criminals, that's his whole thing. He was debuted in a Spider-Man comic, issue 129. The Punisher got his first ever appearance in the world, in history, was in a Spider-Man comic book. So, that tells you that the character can work and not in a super hyper violent setting. Punisher has also appeared in this video game. What's that right there? Rated E for everyone. That means kids can play it. Tiny children. It's an E for everyone game. Punisher shows up in it. Why was he able to? Because you can do it. The 90s Spider-Man show. The 90s Spider-Man series, where Spider-Man was not allowed to punch people, and they could not say the word kill or die. Punisher shows up in that show. Why did it happen? Because it can be done. It can be done, okay, without dumbing down the character. In this game, Spider-Man got framed by Doc Ock for doing something, and Punisher was trying to shoot him. Punisher was trying to kill him. In the 90s show, Punisher was trying to take out Spider-Man because he had a bounty on his head. You don't have to sacrifice the Punisher's character to have him show up in a Spider-Man, essentially, project, or a project that's not inherently R-rated, is all I'm trying to say. It works like this. Spider-Man, like I said at the top of the video, should never have an R-rated movie. I do not care. I have a hard stance on that. You can adapt any story you want, but you can make it PG-13. Spider-Man is a character that I feel like every kid should be able to go see a Spider-Man movie. That's just, I don't feel like that's debatable. I feel like there are some characters where you just should not block out, younger audiences. I really feel that Spider-Man is one of those characters. So that's that. Having the Punisher in there does not mean that you have to make the movie inaccessible to younger audiences. It just means that you need to make the Punisher fit in Spider-Man's world, which they have done in comics for decades. You have had super dark, scary characters appear in other heroes' comic books that are not super dark and scary, and you make it work. It's not hard. It's not difficult. You don't have to dumb down the character. You don't have to make them any less of what they are. Just make it suitable for a PG-13 audience. Because what is R really? R is hard language, like F-bombs and stuff. R is, blood and guts, exploding heads, and nudity, essentially. R is just all the things that you already have in PG-13, but cranked up. You see, and you can do pretty violent stuff these days in PG-13 movies. You remember Iron Man 3? There's a scene in Iron Man 3 where Ellen Brandt, I think is the character's name, she extremises her hand, it turns red hot, she burns her hand through a guy's stomach, grabs a gun out of the holster of the guy behind him, pulls the gun back through his stomach, and then shoots the guy that she pulled the gun out of his holster. That, that's extremely violent. I don't know about you, but that's extremely violent. But it was PG-13. And it happens because it's very fast, and they shoot at like angles where like if you blink you miss it, but you can do it. In the opening of Doctor Strange, they behead a guy, but it cuts away, shows the shadow, you know, it shows the bucket that his head fell in, just rumble. It's called getting creative, you know. Doctor Strange 2, the whole Illuminati scene with Wanda, Black Bolt's head exploding, but it was inside of his mask. So you have to get creative. You know, hyper violent things can happen in PG-13 movies. You just got to get creative. So if Punisher wants to wipe out criminals in Spider-Man Brand New Day, you know, Spider-Man swings in, Punisher has a criminal dead to rights, Spider-Man's like, Frank, don't do it. You know, if it was Daredevil Born Again and Daredevil said, Frank, don't do it, he would blast the guy in the head and it would show the guy's head get blown off. Because Daredevil Born Again is a Project MA, TVMA project. If it's Spider-Man Brand New Day, same situation, Spider-Man lands on the wall, he says, Frank, don't do it. He blasts his head, it cuts away. Maybe it shows a blood splatter on the wall next to Spider-Man, but it's still implied what happened. You know what happened. You know, oh, Punisher blew that guy's head off. But you don't have to show it. You did not take anything away from the Punisher, but he's in a Spider-Man movie. It's the same thing with Carnage. Everybody was saying when Let There Be Carnage was coming out, Carnage needs to be rated R. You can't do Carnage unless he's rated R. Carnage is a rated R character. Carnage is a Spider-Man character. He debuted in the Spider-Man comic. He showed up in this game. E for everyone. Carnage was in this game. Carnage. He was really scary in this game. He's saying, what color do you bleed, Spider-Man? He's throwing axes at you. Carnage. Carnage showed up in that 90s show where Spider-Man couldn't punch anybody and they couldn't say the words kill and die. Carnage was in it. How did they solve him being a serial killer? Oh, he sucked people's souls out and fed them to Dormammu. Just get creative. Carnage was in Let There Be Carnage. The Venom, Let There Be Carnage. A lot of people say, well, that movie sucked. The movie was not great, but that wasn't because it wasn't rated R. It was just because it was not a very well put together movie. You know? Like, R does not mean good, is what I think people, like, get confused about. Craven was an R-rated movie. It was still cheeks. You know, Craven was killing people with bear traps and biting people's nose off. It wasn't a good movie. It was better than some of the other Spider-Verse, Sony-verse movies, but it still wasn't a good movie. It was rated R. Craven, you know, I don't think Craven has to be an R-rated character, because again, he was in his Spider-Man comic, he's a Spider-Man character, but they made his movie rated R. It didn't make the movie any better. It just made it so, oh, you can see Craven kill people more violently. What I'm saying is, Punisher being in a Spider-Man movie does not come with an ultimatum that either the movie has to be R or Punisher has to be neutered. It's not an either-or situation. You just have to get creative. That's all. You just have to find a creative way to showcase this character in this character's project. Daredevil, I personally don't think Daredevil is inherently an R-rated character, but he does some really dark stories, so maybe he fits better in that world, like in a world where you can show things get darker and grittier. But I personally don't think that at its core, Daredevil is an R-rated character. But, you know, Born Again and the original Netflix show, they were TVMA projects. They were essentially R projects. And he showed up in She-Hulk. And when he showed up in She-Hulk, he's got, you know, his yellow and red costume that we saw in the comics, and we never saw in real live action until this show. You know, he had a generally lighter tone to him, but, like, it didn't take away from Daredevil as a character. You know? Like, these characters are, you know? And then he shows up again in Born Again, and it's the same dude, and now since the Born Again is a TVMA world, they can show more violent stuff, but like, it's the same Daredevil. It's the same situation. All I'm saying is R-rated characters, there's no such thing. There's really no such. Deadpool. Everybody say Deadpool can't be done unless it's rated R, blah 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 blah. Deadpool showed up in Ultimate Spider-Man, the 2012 TV show, the cartoon. And I don't know if that's where it started, but that's where the term unalive got popularized. Deadpool. He showed Wolverine. Wolverine was in PG-13 movies forever. Like Deadpool said in Deadpool Wolverine, he said, "Okay, Mister PG-13, except for the last one." Wolverine was in all the X-Men movies. They were all PG-13. But he said he's got his claws. They had him in the 90s X-Men show. He had his claws. 90s X-Men show was Y7. You know, it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to be rated R. Wolverine still became the most popular X-Men character without being rated R. It doesn't need to happen. It's not a necessity. So everybody that's freaking out or thinking about freaking out about Punisher being in Spider-Man, don't. It's fine. It will be fine. It can be done. It has been done. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, face front true believers, I'll see you in the multiverse. Bye.